I thank you guys for coming to this training, and for those that aren't here, I'm going to be turning this into a YouTube video so you can watch it at your leisure. I'm going to start the screen share. Okay, so this is very brief. I just felt that I needed to clear up some of the confusion that I found when I was reading through the instructions that came with the new kits, because they're doing different testing. They're doing more testing. They're testing for more than one type of toxin this year. They gave us 4 jars. They gave us pH strips, but didn't tell us what to do with the information. So I'm following up with that. So start off, what does a cyanobacteria bloom look like? Some of you know this. I know Tim does because he has one in his backyard every summer. Scott, you've probably seen one down by the beach. Maybe not.
I've seen a photo of it down there. Yeah.
Okay. And John, you've seen the blooms that are down in the coves. So I know that there's different ways they look. Sometimes they come out in the summer, in the heat of the summer. And sometimes, like John might see it only when the lake turns over in the fall, but those are all still blooms we want to capture and send the samples up to EPA. So these are different examples of cyanobacteria blooms. Honestly, it looks like someone has spilled green paint on top of the water. So in this case, we have a couple different shades, and the one on the left, the one on the right is more granular and clustered. This was Tim's backyard last summer, very clearly, and yeah, that was very clearly a cyanobacteria bloom. Here's a couple others from Fisher Meadow Pond in Avon, Connecticut. That's not all the same color greens. There's different types, different species of cyanobacteria that we'll see. What we're seeing in these cases is the water kind of looks green, but this is where the wind blows it against the shoreline and we get that surface scum. That's pretty obvious. There's another one. You can see that it's blown over to the shoreline. This was Rosen Lake a few years ago. This one, it's a little bit more splotchy and it's mixed in with a filamentous floating cyanobacteria as well. And this one's more of a aqua color than a green color. And different species, again, will show up differently. But it just, that's what we're looking for. Something that looks like a green scum on top of the pond. If it has little roots hanging down the bottom and leaves, that's a green plant. That's not a cyanobacteria bloom. So what's in your kit? For those that have opened it or not, it comes with 2 ice packs, and it recommends that you lay them flat in your freezer before you go out sampling or before you're shipping, and you're going to reuse these things for the day you sample or the day you ship. You're going to get a set of instructions. And it has the pH color chart on it. Oh. I'm letting Ruby in. So this pH color chart, you need to have this piece of paper with you when you go out into the water. You're going to get 2 pH strips. So you have to use that interpretive color chart to read the strip. You'll be getting, there's a pair of disposable gloves, which I recommend you use while you're sampling. The reason we're doing this sampling is because we want to find out if these cyanobacteria blooms have toxins in them. And why would I ask you to put your hand in something potentially toxic without protecting your skin? So each kit has a pair of gloves to be worn while sampling. Now there's 4 jars in the kit. 2 of them have labels on it. They didn't think this part through very well, which is one of the things that had me very confused. One is labeled with an A on top, and there's a small amount of liquid in the bottom of that jar. They're going to be looking for a certain type of toxin, and that liquid is needed to be in the jar. But this is the one that's really important for the pH. So we're going to be talking about what we're going to do with the pH information. There's a clear jar that says BMAA on top, and then there's two brown jars that have no labels on it. One of them has a little vial inside of it, and the other one is just an empty jar. You get 4 labels to stick on these jars before you send the samples in. The kit comes with a styrofoam cooler, and it has a shipping label. They also forgot to put that in the box, so I did make the extra effort to make sure the shipping label came in for everybody. So that's what they gave you. So what do you do first? Well, they want you to watch this YouTube video, which we can watch now, or I can let you watch it on your own, but this is the link to the YouTube video. And I could send that out with the recorded session so people can watch it. I do recommend you watch it, even if it's incomplete. On the day you go out for your sample, at each sample location, you need to have the Bloom Watch app on your phone. And you have to report the bloom through the Bloom Watch, because if you submit samples without the Bloom Watch data with the GPS information and the pictures of the bloom, the samples aren't complete. So it's not worth taking samples if you don't have the rest of the data. So the Bloom Watch is essential. I know that in some places I've gone to lakes and I was unable to upload the pictures on the water because lakes are kind of at the bottom of a hill typically. So you can get the pictures and you can get the GPS point usually okay, but you may have to go someplace else where you have a better signal to be able to send the data in. You can put my email address in there as well. Put your email address in there. You can put down that you're with the Last Green Valley, because that's all useful information too. There's a lot of different places where you can put in more information, but at the very least, you have to put your name, your contact information, and all the information they ask for Bloom Watch. Does anybody not have the Bloom Watch app on their phone yet?
I don't have it, but I can get it.
Okay. Yeah, it's something that if you see algae blooms on your lake anytime, even when you're not testing it, reporting it, that will give them an idea of how long that bloom is going on for. So, go out once a week or every other week and look for bloom signs and report it. And then one of them will come in with the actual physical samples. So also after you do the Bloom Watch app, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to test the pH of the water, and you'll compare the color on the dip strip to the chart on the instruction sheet. Now they want the samples to be between 5 and 7. That's ideal. But sometimes, I know when I was measuring Roseland Lake, when it's really cranking, it's a sunny day, and you go out in the middle of the day, the cyanobacteria is photosynthesizing so rapidly that it actually depletes the carbon dioxide levels in the water, and that changes the buffering ability of the water, and the pH can go up into the 9 range. And if the pH is high in your sample, they have to adjust it. So on your jar that has an A on the top, you need to write that information on the lid of that jar. Any questions about that? Okay. So if you're collecting from the shore and you're going out to collect a potentially toxic substance, I urge you to wear boots to protect your skin, as well as the gloves to protect your hands. If you're going out in a kayak or something, then the kayak will protect you, except for your hands. Now, I told you there's 4 jars, and 2 of them are unlabeled. Take the unlabeled jar that's empty. no vial in the bottom. And you can use that as your sample collector. So you're going to scoop that jar into the scum and make sure you get a good amount of scum in it. And there's a line on the jar. These jars are wrapped in bubble wrap, but you see there's a line on the jar right here. You're going to fill it to that line. And then you can take that water from that jar and transfer it into the jar with the A on the lid. And you're going to secure the lid and you're going to mix the contents. If the pH is greater than 7, write that information on the lid, or just write the pH on the lid. That's good. Then you're going to take the clear jar that has.
So Jean,
Yes, Ruby.
Cindy, I don't know if you were trying to show us anything, but we're just seeing your instructions. So if you were trying to show us bottles, we can't
okay.
see them.
All right. I'm
She's
sorry. I don't
holding it
know
up
that.
to her picture.
Say that, Tim.
You're holding it up on your camera. So if you have the camera, if you have the pictures with the people on the side.
Oh, okay. That's
Get
my
that.
issue. Sorry. Okay.
All right, so
I will
there's
do
a-
that for speaker. That's a good idea. Okay. Thank you.
So here's a clear jar. Again, there's a line on it. And at the top, it's labeled BMAA. You're going to open that jar and put a sample up to the line in there. Close the lid. No other information, nothing else you have to do with that. Then the jar. Okay, this jar, can you hear that? There's a little vial inside there, a little glass bottle, and it's got a liquid in it. This jar has to be treated different from the other jars because 3 of the jars are going to get frozen. This one's not. But I don't like that they didn't write on the lid because this jar also has got nothing written on the lid. And I don't know that they have solid or the hole in the top of the jar. So anyway, you're going to fill this jar. You're going to take the little vial out, open the jar, fill the jar, take that little vial, empty it in there, close this jar, and mix it. It should become kind of foamy, is what I was told. But this is the one that's going to be our the sample that they're going to do the taxonomy from. That's why it's not frozen. So you can mark it with a P on the top to let you know that one has the preservative in it. Or Tracy had another suggestion. It's the taxonomy sample, put taxonomy on it or whatever. But you know you don't freeze this one. You treat it differently when you get back home. Then you take that jar again, the first one that you've been scooping all the other samples with, fill that one up to the line and close the lid. This one is for other toxins. So that's going to go in your freezer. And that's it. Now you have labels in the jars, in the box. You're going to put the name of the lake, the latitude and the longitude, and I don't remember where the labels go. And the type of sample. And we're doing bloom scums. So you're going to write, you're just going to circle bloom scum. So that's these labels that you got in your kit. Now, that's the directions that I got from the EPA. And then Tracy from DEEP said, well, wait, put an A on it for the anatoxin, put the pH value on it, but also put the name of the lake on every lid. That just makes it easier for them to sort without having to pick up each jar. So we'll write the name of the label on the lid. The taxonomy sample, you put P on it for preserve or taxonomy, whatever you want, plus the lake. Remember that one doesn't get frozen. And then you can put OT on the other one for other toxins. It's not terribly difficult. It was just not clear in the directions. So next step, keep your samples cool or in the cooler until you get back home. You're going to take the label with the P on it or taxonomy written on the lid, put that one in your refrigerator until you're ready to ship it. The other 3 jars you're going to put in your freezer on their side. and you're gonna freeze them at least overnight. There's the plastic bag that everything came in. You can put the jars in that bag if you want to keep it separate from your food. And then take it out when it's time to ship, but they have to be frozen solid. Then when you're ready to ship the samples, they have little bubble wrap around all the jars. So reuse that bubble wrap if you can. Put all the jars in the bottom of the cooler, put the ice packs on top, fill any empty spaces in the cooler with crumpled paper, and then put the lid on the cooler, put the cooler in the shipping box, tape it up, and put the lid on, the shipping label on it. And then you need to take it to the nearest UPS shipping store the day that you package everything up. Now we can sample on a Saturday as long as the samples are frozen until we're ready to ship on Monday. But you can't ship on a Friday because the lab is closed on the weekend and these things are going overnight. So if you ship on a Friday, there's no one to receive them. They'll defrost. The samples won't be worth anything. So that's it. Anybody got any questions?
If we did on a Thursday, we could send it.
If you did it on a Thursday and you shipped it overnight to EPA, as long as it would get there before they close on Friday.
Okay. So
So
the
that's,
best thing to do is do it Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday,
or Sunday.
or Sunday. Okay.
Or if you did it, I mean, if they're frozen, they're not going to decompose. And the other one's got a preservative in it. So you can keep it in your refrigerator. You can sample on a Friday, just don't ship it on a Friday.
No, okay, then we could send it on Monday.
Send it out Monday. So it's, you know, there's no cost to you for the shipping. The shipping is included. It's just the added, you know, step of taking it to a UPS shipping center and just here, and they'll, you know, they'll take it and get it out there overnight. Any other questions?
Well, so we'll be able to read over this stuff later, right?
I'm going to send you the PowerPoint, and I'm
Okay.
also going to convert this this program into a YouTube video, and I'll send you the link. So if you want to watch it again, you will have that privilege to do so. And I also again suggest that you watch the YouTube video that EPA made, because it talks about Bloom Watch in addition to the sampling, although they left out steps and they recognized they left out steps, which is why I'm doing this little extra training.
So all the things that are on the PowerPoint slides are the steps you wrote up to fill in.
Yes, everything that we
Okay.
need to do when we're out in the field is listed on here.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Well, happy sampling. I know some of you will probably be able to go out and sample today because we just went through a long stretch of 90-degree days. It's still above 80 degrees. Cyanobacteria is probably cooking in your lake. Once the water gets above 27 degrees or 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit, that's the perfect environment for these things. And then some of you may only see it in the fall when the lake turns over, like Witch's Woods Lake and Gardner Lake. I know you had them in the summer. They're not common, but they did happen enough that DEEP said, I want Gardner Lake sampled. So if you see one, that's important because it washed up on the state beach and they don't know whether to say, oh, do not swim there, you can get sick. You know, that's what they're looking for. But it's more than just a state beach at Gardner Lake. There's a lot of private property homes on the lake. So no one should be in contact with this material because it's potential toxicity. All right. Any other questions before I stop recording?
None concerning this.
Okay.